Welcome back. Austin Mayor Steve Adler is joining us for his weekly visit Mondays with the Mayor. Good morning, Mayor.
Always good to be back.
Good to have you with us. So last week the council was very busy and you all took some action related to the homeless ordinances in Austin. Tell us exactly what you guys did.
Well, I'd start off by saying the city is staying laser focused on public safety and public health. And we preserve for our law enforcement folks every ordinance and law that helps them deal with public safety risks and public health hazards. But what we spent a lot of time talking about was the person who's experiencing homelessness that is not presenting a public safety risk or a public health hazard. What do we do with the person who's leaning up against the building, dealing with swirling demons that the rest of us don't see? That person needs our help. I don't think the right answer is to put that person in jail. So what do we do? And that's what we talked about. We talked about jail not being the right thing for that person that's not presenting any public safety risk or public health hazard. We need to find a place for those folks. We need to find a place. We need to be able to tell the person not only where they can't be, but where they can be. Where's a safe place to be able to camp so that social workers can triage and get them into a shelter and get them a job or medical attention, and then get them out of the shelter and then into a home. We find if we do that most folks end up being able to return to a productive life. Not everybody, but most of them can. And that's what we have to be focused. You know, Seattle is a city with 200,000 fewer people than we have, but they have 6 times as many homeless folks. So we are in a position now with only about 1,150 people unsheltered on our streets that we ought to be able to take care of that. That's a number that we can manage, but we have to do it in a right way. And having our police arrest or ticket people to get them to move doesn't help, because then wherever they move to, the police have to go back out again. It's like playing whack-a-mole, and we spend millions of dollars doing that. Police should be working on something else, and it doesn't help the person we're trying to help.
So when it comes to the sitting line camping ordinance, you all decided what?
We decided to keep it in force, prohibition, let the police officers ticket and arrest anybody that's doing that in a way that's blocking or impeding or threatening or causing any measure of public safety risk or public health hazard. We kept those in force, doubled down on that to make sure that our officers could do that. But in that other category, that third bucket where somebody's not presenting any of those risks, we said, you know, the right answer is not to put that person in jail. We have to find safe places where those folks can go to get the help and support they need. And one of the things the council did on Thursday was to establish a new location for yet another shelter. My sense is that we're probably going to put those all around the city so that we have a better place for people to be than along our streets.
Now, obviously, the change to the ordinance is not something that necessarily went over well with everyone. In fact, Governor Gov Abbott put out a tweet over the weekend saying, quote, "If Austin or any other Texas city permits camping on city streets, it will be yet another local ordinance the state of Texas will override. At some point, cities must start putting public safety and common sense first. There are far better solutions for the homeless and citizens." What do you want to say in response to the governor's remarks?
Well, I assume that someone on his staff really didn't explain to him what it was that we did, because we've been laser focused on public safety and public health. It's that other category that we're trying to figure out how we handle that. And my hope is, you know, the legislature is going to be not coming back for 1.5 years. And in that period of time, I hope and trust that Austin's going to be able to come up with the program that our state's going to want to scale up and have all cities doing across the state. Because we're going to find something that works. Now, the legislature and the leadership have made it hard for us with the revenue caps. We have some great programs we want to scale up, pilot programs. We took half the homeless children on our streets off the streets last year. We want to scale that up, but with the revenue caps, the legislature just made it harder for us to be able to scale up the programs that are working.
But is the city permitting people camping on city streets now?
Well, you know, we're not we're not allowing anyone to use the public streets are public streets. And the courts have said that if someone's not causing a public safety risk or a public health hazard, that they have as much right to be there as anyone else. So we have to conform to those laws, but we have to go further than that. We actually have to have a better place for those people, so that they're not on our streets, so that they're not under the overpasses. So we actually have a place for those folks to go where they can get jobs, where they can get housing, where they can get the medical or mental health attention that they need.
And I think you said earlier, for you, this is about decriminalizing homelessness, right?
It's decriminalizing people who are not presenting public safety risks and public health hazards. It's not criminalizing the person that just needs our help, but is not presenting any risks. That person in Austin, Texas, we should be doing a better job by those people and by our community than putting that person in jail. That's not the right answer. No one really wants to do that. So we have to find a better approach, a better response to that, which is to get people the attention and care that they need and to get them into homes. And that's what we should be focused on. The debate right now in the community, there are a lot of people in the community that think we took away an ordinance that would prevent a police officer from stopping someone that's presenting a public safety risk or hazard. And that's not the case. If someone is sleeping on a sidewalk and blocking people's ability to be able to move, or if there's a panhandler on the streets that's threatening and aggressively approaching someone, those things are against the law. And our police have reserved and preserved the ability to be able to deal with those. Everybody should know that. What we're trying to figure out is what happens to the person that's not presenting that risk.
All right. Mayor, we thank you so much for joining us today. Obviously, much more I'm sure we'll be hearing about this topic, and we'll be right back.